This is my morning face. But it's like 1 or 2 p.m. and I haven't shaved for a couple days, as you can tell. I'm beautiful. Anyway, Stork rule of the world here. I just had some thoughts before I get around for the day that I wanted to share with YouTube. Basically to my son, because he's the only one that watches this shit. But in case I do get any more followers, that would be cool. If you see me looking away and stuff, I'm a raid leader for World of Warcraft and guild master as well. Belac on Etrig, B-E-L-A-C. Nice shout out to myself there. So yeah, what's on my mind? I want to talk a little bit about ghosts and spirits today. You see, we've been playing with this ghost app. You probably saw it on Blind Sandwich's channel. And there's a lot of coincidences. At first, I wasn't a believer. I'm still not a firm believer in the app, but there's a lot of coincidences. Like when we have it running and we were playing Rock Band, and as soon as our percentages come up, the app says result. And I'm like, what the hell? And before that, it said banned, stuff like that. Anyway, what has happened with spirits? Well, you don't want to taunt spirits. What has happened? Well, apparently my son and my girlfriend's son, they were upstairs, and they taunted the spirit, if there is one. Which I'm starting to wonder. What happened after taunting the spirit? Well, shortly after Sean said that, you know, if you're real, bring danger to us. My daughter fell down the stairs, which she's never done here in 5 months. The next 2 days after that, my girlfriend was run off the road by a guy that was on the wrong side of the road. And weather really wasn't a problem then, and we're talking middle of the day. It's not like middle of the night where you can't see. Coincidences, I'm sure. Or maybe not. Don't taunt the spirit. So what happened today is that I get a text from my girlfriend, and this is about a week and a half, 2.5 weeks removed from taunting the spirit, that her son, the one that taunted the spirit, might have broke his wrist in gym today, messing around. He just ran into a wall, put his hands out, and he got x-rays, and it turns out it's a bad sprain, which is still pretty painful. I've had a broken wrist, and I know what it's like, and it sucks. It hurts to shuffle cards. It hurts to hold a glass to drink. It hurts to do any gaming, which he's a big gamer, so that sucks. But I did want to testify one experience I had with 3 of my buddies growing up. I was around the age of 10, give or take a year, a year or two. I was like 10 or 11 probably. And there was this house that was a block away from my house growing up. I lived at 811. This house was 911. My best friend at the time lived at 1011 on this road. And there was this big brick mansion, for lack of a better word. It was like a 3-story, lots of bedrooms, and it just looked haunted to us. It looked creepy. It seemed out of place. They had a big yard, a fountain in the back. So what we would do is, being nosy kids, we would try to go onto their property and look around when we thought they weren't home. Well, at the time, my friend was a paper boy, and we got to know the people kind of well, because I'd help him on his paper route. And they seemed like nice people. They were a little odd. They had some strange paintings on the walls that would, that kind of made it look haunted and stuff. So we always checked it out, and they would lie to me and say, oh, hey, I saw a bloody rope hanging out of the window or something like that. Bullshit. I was naive. I believed him. But it got to a point where we started finding stuff that was really, really weird. Like patches of grass would be soaking wet, and then right beside it would be dry, but there was nothing around. One day the lady caught us walking around the house, and we asked, we started talking, and she's like, oh, I was picking the petals off of my flowers. What? Who grows flowers just to pick the petals off? Like, what the hell was she talking about? Anyway, on this one day, me and 3 friends rode our bikes to this house. We put our bikes on the sidewalk, and we put them in a spot where we could see them. This house had enough yard that really none of their neighbors were close. I mean, when I say close, I mean in town close. So it was enough space that we could see our bikes. No houses were blocking our view or anything. And what I should preface this with what happened. We went up to the door to see if we could collect for paper money, because every week or 2 or month or whatever it was, you paid for your paper to be delivered. So my friend and I went up, knocked on the door, and we saw them leave a little bit before that, so we thought they were gone. But we knocked on the door, and if they were home, they always answered. So they weren't home, they didn't answer. There was only 2 people that lived there, and we saw them both leave in the car. They had like a nice Lincoln Continental or something like that. So my friends and I got together and decided we're going to go over there. Well, when they were home, the fountain was running in the backyard. When they left, the fountain was off. So first thing, we're walking through the yard. Oh, this yard's weird, whatever. Nothing really major with the yard. We get to the fountain. This thing had been running maybe 5 minutes before we were there. We get to the fountain, and this is like a stone fountain. It is bone dry. Like, the drain is dry. None of the stones around it were wet. I mean, it just seemed insane that it would be that dry after just running minutes before that. So we started checking out this pipe. We look down this pipe and we see red stuff in it. Now, as kids, we're thinking, oh God, it's blood. I live in Indiana. It's probably clay that was down in there. But I'm trying to figure out how the clay could be, I don't know, so solid and stuff, but the thing would drain and get dry so quickly. That was kind of a mystery. We were all checking that out. My best friend Andy at the time looks up at the window, one of the windows. They had like 50 windows in the back, and he just freezes in fear. And he goes, "Tell me that's not a ghost." And we're talking like middle of the day. It's probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I look up at the house, and I just look at like a 2-story window. Not the window he was looking at, but I looked at the 2-story windows and the 1-story windows, and I'm like, dude, there's no ghost. Chill out, So 3 of us go back to looking at the fountain and checking out things around it. And my friend is just staring at this window, petrified, for maybe 5 minutes straight. Damnedest thing I've ever seen. And he wasn't a guy that gets scared easily. And he was like shaking in his boots, frozen, right? So then he mentions something again. He says, "Guys, look at the window." So I don't know how, but we all 3 turned and looked at the window at the same time. And we all saw it. There was this old lady face. It wasn't human. I mean, it had human likenesses, but it was white, like transparent white. Had no neck. White hair that was not quite glowing, but you could tell it was white. And his head was just staring at us from like an attic window. Now, it wasn't a mask. It wasn't, I mean, it couldn't have been a projector because it's a window. It would reflect back. We all just froze at the same time. And we said, we need to get the fuck out of here. So I mentioned the bikes earlier. They were out on the sidewalk. And all three or four of us, I think one of my buddies might not have had a kickstand. But we all just kind of put our bikes out there and put the kickstands up. And when we got out to get our bikes, it was not a windy day. All 4 of our bikes were turned sideways on top of each other. 4. I don't know if we could even do that if we tried, but surely if a human did that, we would have seen and or heard them do it. And like I said, the people weren't home. My friend had to go back later. He was petrified to collect paper money from them, but he saw them come home and went up to the door, and he said no one else was there. That was the last time we went, and we're talking, this is like 30 years ago. We're still talking about this today, guys. Like, our 25-year reunion, people were still talking about it. They said, We don't know that it was a ghost, but if it wasn't, it was the closest thing we've ever seen. And it scared the shit out of us. And we all agreed it's the scariest thing we've ever seen in our lives. Just this head in a window in the middle of the day that we could almost see through. It was... I wish I had a cell phone back then and could have taken a picture of it. It was scary as fuck. So anyway, in closing, don't taunt spirits, man, because bad things can happen. We live in a spiritual world, whether you believe it or not. Things happen that you cannot explain from our normal five senses. I guess before I go, I should probably add that I had an experience years ago where I've dreamed stuff that happens. Now, I have no control over it. I'm not a psychic, anything like that. I don't have powers other than my simple lay on hands powers, maybe, where I touch people and I can heal their headaches or something. What the hell is going on? There's all kinds of noise going on behind me. I just want to make sure the cats aren't trying to kill themselves. Cats, you're trying to kill yourself. Alright, whatevs. So anyway, so I had a dream years ago, and my son can attest to this on his channel, if you doubt this, because I did say something before it happened. Anyway, I was supposed to take my son home the day after he spent the night. I woke up, I had a very vivid dream that I was driving on Vance Avenue, and I got to this four-way stop, and this white Cadillac blew the four-way stop and T-boned me in the driver's side. And I don't remember in the dream if I died or we both died or I was hurt. I'm not sure exactly. I don't remember that part. But I do remember I woke up and I told Caleb, I said, hey, I had this dream that you know, this car blew this four-way. And updating my guild roster here real fast. Sorry, people text and message me all day long. I had this dream that we got T-boned and died or got hurt or whatever. And I specifically told him the intersection. I told him it was a white Cadillac, right? Now, when I went to take him home, stupidly, I took the same way, right? Like, I'm going down Vance Avenue. And I slow down, get into this four-way. And as I slow down, it might even have been a two-way. I might not have had to stop. I don't remember. But anyway, as I approach that intersection, this guy driving a white Cadillac, no shit, blows the stop sign. I slam on my brakes, and I miss him by a couple feet. And of course, I had slowed down before that, just in case, right? So I don't know, man. I can't explain it. But I did tell him before it happened, so he knew, and he freaked balls when he saw it. So, you know, that isn't proof that your five senses aren't the only senses. I don't know what is from personal experience, but we do live in a spiritual world. If you don't believe in ghosts or you don't believe in spirits, I don't know what to tell you. There's stuff that I've seen and experienced that I know there's other forces out there. I'm not a ghost hunter. I'm not a psychic, but, you know, I've had my experiences. I know it's tough to believe if you didn't personally experience it, because when I have people that come to me and tell me stories, I have a hard time believing it because I didn't experience it. I'm like, oh, you're kooky and you're out of your mind, whatever. But anyway, in closing, you know, maybe it's karma, maybe it's your electric energy, whatever. But like I said, we do live in a spiritual world. Don't provoke spirits. Don't be negative. And that's all I got, man. Thanks for watching.